Hello, today we will be taking a look at a brand new action camera from a company that is quickly becoming one of my favorite camera companies, SJCAM. I have one other camera from SJCAM and I really liked it. This is another camera with the same company, so I'm very excited to start this video. This is not a review. This is only an unboxing video followed by some video tests in the next part of this video. So if you'd rather not hear me talk about this camera, rather not see me open up the camera to take a look at the accessories, take a look at the camera menu, and just want to see some sample video tests, go to the later part of the video so you don't have to watch the whole unboxing process. But largely this will be an unboxing followed by video tests, videos recorded with this camera. So what do we have here? This is an action camera. 4K resolution. I don't really use the 4K on cheap action cameras just because I usually find that lower resolutions are perfectly acceptable, like 1080p. So this is the SJCAM. That's the company. This is obviously an action camera with, as you can see, a second screen on the front. That's very cool. And not really a whole lot of specifications on the front. Yes, waterproof with your underwater housing, wide angle view, 2 screens. As you can see, there's another screen, and there's also going to be one on the back also. So we have 2 screens, battery. Okay, so what do we have here? The SJ4000. That is the specific the model number of the camera, SJ4000. This is the SJCAM SJ4000. So on the side, I definitely feel like this is a solid camera company based on the one that I have already. So hopefully this will not disappoint. Nothing really on the side of the box, interestingly enough. So let's just take a look at the back. You can see that there's 2 screens. Probably you're going to have your underwater housing as well. Otherwise, how is this going to be waterproof? So let's see if we have any other specifications here. Yes, all the way up to 4K 30 frames per second. Supposedly, mobile app via Wi-Fi. Okay, so interestingly enough, not really, aside from saying that this has up to 4K resolution, not really a whole lot of specifications on the actual box, which is a little bit surprising because we didn't really get to learn much about the camera, but that's why we're going to unbox the camera. So let's see what else we can learn about this camera, and certainly we're going to start using the camera, showing you the settings if it has battery. So the SJCAM SJ4000, let's get started with this unboxing. Okay, here's the camera with what appears to be a cloth case for our camera, but we're going to keep it in the underwater housing to really make sure that it does not get dirty. So we're going to take a look at the camera, we're going to look at the accessories, and I'm going to turn on the camera and show you the settings. So here we have a case for our camera with the name SJCAM. This is actually quite a nice case. I'm not sure if I'll use it necessarily, but I guess this is to hold our camera. That is honestly quite awesome. That has the company, and it's not just some kind of generic case. It actually has the company name on it. This is quite a nice little souvenir. Quite awesome in terms of accessories. Not sure if I'm going to use it though. Okay, so removing that piece of plastic gets us to where the actual camera is, our dual screen camera. So really the focus of this unboxing video, the actual camera. Of course we have some accessories, but very excited to see what we have so far. So let's just start removing the pieces of plastic so we can actually, you could probably see me in the background, so we can actually get to using this awesome looking camera. Really, it's lots of plastic on the outside. Okay, so here we go. We have our camera inside of our underwater housing. So it seems like we're just going to push this and up there. Okay, I've done this enough that I can really kind of figure it out pretty quickly. Okay, so here's the underwater housing on the left. Now here's the actual camera. So this is the SJCAM SJ4000, as it says right there. Let's take this off. Let's also take this off, and lastly the piece in the back. So lots of plastic coverings just to make sure that when you actually start operating your camera, it's not all dusty. That's quite nice. Okay, so here is the here's the camera. The SJCAM SJ4000. It's a small camera. It's not the largest camera, so compact design is always nice. Has the name right here, your dual screen. Looks like you can, to get the battery open, you just push to the left, and there's already a battery in there. That's quite nice. You have some buttons here, extra operation buttons, the OK button over here, and you have an area where you will actually need a micro SD memory card. I'm not sure if one is included. Hopefully there is, but this is for your USB port to charge the camera and to transfer files. And this is where your micro SD memory card will go. You do need a micro SD memory card. I don't know if one is included, but in general, most cameras will not come with a micro SD memory card in the package already. You'll have to buy a memory card. Otherwise, you can't really use your camera because you won't be able to store footage on your camera. So you will need a memory card to actually insert. So let's hope that we have one included. Okay, so we have the camera, we have the underwater housing. Don't forget, if you're going to submerge this camera underwater, if you're going to try to do that, make sure you use the underwater housing. Insert the camera in the underwater housing and then clip it back, put it back together, seal it so that really there's not going to be any damage, not going to be any damage to your camera. Obviously, you don't want water to get into the area where the memory card is or the USB port. Okay, so we have the camera, we have the underwater housing, and now, lastly, we're going to talk about the accessories, and then we're going to start using the camera. It should be very exciting. So, what kind of accessories are included? As I said, I really hope we have a memory card. That would be nice. Can't remember what the Amazon description says. Extra battery. Definitely good to have. Oh, look at that. You know what? Now I'm really happy. Oh, look at this. Okay. Oh my gosh. And also we have a dock for charging 2 batteries. You know what? This is making my day so much better. Okay, look at this. Very nice value to have with this camera. A 32 gigabyte micro SD memory card already included in the packaging. So if you're giving this as a gift, know that the recipient will be very happy as long as you know how to insert the memory card. So why don't we do that right now? So we got our memory card. Now we have to insert it in the camera. Shouldn't be too difficult. Just line it up here. Had to kind of figure out which way it's going to go. Okay, now take a thin metal object like a pair of scissors. Now listen to the click. And there's a click. Okay, memory card is inserted. Now let's get back to the accessories. Okay, that's where our memory card was. Remember, if a memory card was not included, just know that with most cameras, you will need to separately purchase a micro SD memory card. I cannot emphasize that enough. Otherwise, you will not be able to use your camera. You have to have a memory card inserted in order to store the footage. So we're going to insert the USB cable here. This is a dock for charging 2 batteries at the same time. So let me just show you what that's going to look like quickly, since we're probably going to end up using it for that anyways. So here's our extra battery, which generously was included. Now we're just going to line it up here. There you go. See? Now I put the other battery here. Charge 2 batteries at the same time by connecting your USB cable to the to this little box, and then the other end of the USB cable sorry, will go to your laptop, your desktop, your all-in-one computer, the USB port there. So we're going to show you that in one second momentarily. But first, let's just take a look at the remaining accessories. Some standard mounts and accessories. I'm not going to really look at some of these. Actually, we barely have any standard accessories, which is totally fine. Okay, this is interesting. We have 2 USB cables. I've never seen this before, ever. This is like, I've had like 24 action cameras, never seen 2 USB cables. That's incredible value, since you can never have enough USB cables, especially if you have multiple cameras. 2 USB cables, that's outstanding. That is outstanding. And another cool little case for your camera without the underwater housing. Camera will just kind of go here, and you can mount the camera somewhere else. Not really sure if I'm going to use that. And last but not least, okay, you have stickers. This is also very cool. And it reminds me of Blue smartphones. They also have stickers. So for our presentation, accessories A+. Look, who would have thought that there'd be so many accessories in such a small box? Now you have a giant cleaning case. It's a cleaning case. Cleaning cloth to clean your camera lens. Always good to have those. You can never have enough of those as well in case your camera lens gets a little bit dirty. Okay, so we're going to put that there. And of course we have this guide, which will let us know what the buttons are for, how to insert the memory card, underwater housing, the different features, photo, video, I don't know, slow motion, time lapse, image stabilization, I don't know, whatever kind of settings we have available on this camera. Now, speaking of settings available on this camera, why don't we actually get started and start using this camera? So the power button, I'm going to guess, is okay over here. Battery? Is there battery life? Please? How do we turn on the camera? Hello? Come on. I'm pressing this button. No. Fine. You know what? I really want to make sure this. Take out the battery. Put the other battery in. Please. Come on. Tell me there's battery here so I can actually use the camera. I don't want to have to charge it now. Please, 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 please. Oh my gosh. Finally. There, okay. Now life is starting to get a little bit better. Okay, so what can I say here? We have default settings. Let's maybe change some of them before we start using this camera. So we have this second screen. I'm sure there's a way to activate it. Maybe it's the down button. Oh, it is the down button. Okay. Okay, great. So the down button will activate your second screen, and then pressing it again will get you back to your front screen. Okay, so we have no button on the front, so we have to kind of figure out how to change these settings. This OK button is probably the record button, so let's just try to use these left and right buttons. Wi-Fi? No, I don't want Wi-Fi. You know, are there any other buttons here that I can show me how to get to the settings? Okay, so that's the record button. And again, I press the record button again. I'm trying to figure out how to get to... Okay, let's try this button, the up button. Oh, okay, good. So hold down this up button and you should get to photo. And then playback. Ah, settings. Okay, so the up button will get you between the various modes, photo mode, video mode, and settings and playback. Okay, so you barely have any buttons. 1, 2, 3, only have 3 buttons on this camera. Okay, so let's look at the settings really quickly. So, video resolution all the way up to 4K. So let's try 1080p, 60 frames per second. Let's do that. Record with sound, yes. Time-lapse, loop recording, we also have those options. Okay. Okay, photo mode. Okay, we're holding down the up button to get to these different types of settings. 60 megapixels. Okay, that's fine. Image rotation. We don't need any of that stuff. LED indicator light. Okay, well, we're going to turn that off. Auto screensaver, let's turn it off. Auto shut down, let's also turn that off. Watermark, no. Logo watermark, that's kind of interesting, but no thank you. Okay, so let's go to the last part of the settings. Formatting the memory card, no thank you. Okay. Okay, so we have changed our resolution to 1080p, 60 frames per second, so we have a little bit of battery life here, actually a lot of battery life. Very excited to finally use this camera. That's the record button again. Oh, I don't want the LED indicator light. Let's turn that off. I will say, like, navigating to the settings is kind of, it takes a while because I keep having to hold this up button. It's kind of annoying. I wish there was like one more button on the camera, but you know what? It's okay. I just want to turn off this LED indicator light because I don't really want it. Okay, great. Okay, so let's see what happens if we... No, I want to turn off the light. I don't want the light on. Fine. Bear with me just 1 second. I'm going to do this, and then we're going to show you the actual test footage. I just don't like that bright light that is kind of over there. Okay. Don't know why the light was just on. Okay. So by holding this up button, you really get to your various settings. I changed the default resolution to 1080p 60 frames per second. There's another screen, there's 2 batteries, there's a charging station which you can combine with your USB cable, and then the other end will go to the USB port in your computer to charge 2 batteries at the same time. You have 2 batteries, you have a micro SD memory card, 32 gigabytes, which is very impressive that the camera had that accessory included. So that's it. This has been an unboxing video. The next part of this video will be some resolution, maybe different resolution settings, different video samples, possibly different resolutions, but mostly with 1080p 60 frames per second resolution. So here it is, the SJCAM SJ4000. This has been an unboxing video followed by some sample videos which will follow shortly. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. 1080p video test, 60 frames per second with the SJCAM SJ4000. Video test, 60 frames per second with the SJCAM SJ4000. Video test, 60 frames per second with the SJCAM SJ4000. 1080p video test, 60 frames per second with the SJCAM SJ4000. Video test, 60 frames per second with the SJCAM SJ4000. 1080p video test, 60 frames per second with the SJCAM SJ4000. 1080p video test, 60 frames per second. Video test, 60 frames per second with the SJCAM SJ4000. Hello, we are here with the SJCAM SJ4000. This is what we are recording with right here, the SJCAM SJ4000. This is a 1080p 60 frames per second video test on this sunny Sunday afternoon, July 30th, 2023. Again, this is what we're recording with. This is the SJCAM SJ4000. Action camera recently purchased on Amazon, and this is an extended 1080p 60 frames per second video test for you to decide if you think the video quality looks good. Again, it's being uploaded to YouTube. This particular clip is not being edited. 1080p 60 frames per second will let you decide if you think this looks good. I'm very excited to see what the quality looks like on this camera. SJCAM so far is one of my favorite companies. I have another one of their cameras, the C100 Plus, which doesn't have a screen. So again, extended 1080p 60 frames per second video test. I don't know if this camera has image stabilization. Not that many features, I would say, but the accessories are definitely fantastic. We have 2 batteries, 2 USB cables, and a 32 gigabyte memory card, and a docking station to charge 2 batteries at the same time. Again, this is the SJCAM SJ4000, which has 2 screens, and this is a 1080p 60 frames per second video resolution test. Purchased recently on Amazon. There are usually some coupons available in general for a lot of action cameras, so if you're interested, just keep in mind that the coupons will fluctuate, the amounts of the coupons, discounts, etc. 1080p 60 frames per second video test. .1080p 60 frames per second video test with the SJCAM SJ4000. And this is just want to show you really quickly, this is the camera that we are recording with, the SJCAM SJ4000. You got this mirror, show you this is what we are recording with, and here it is. Video test, 1080p resolution, 60 frames per second. .60 frames per second video test. The camera goes all the way to 4K, 2.7K, but my personal favorite setting is 1080p 60 frames per second. .1080p video test, 60 frames per second. Thanks for watching this video. Have a nice day. Extended video test. SJCAM SJ4000. This has been a video test at 1080p resolution, 60 frames per second. .1080p video test, 60 frames per second with the SJCAM SJ4000. .1080p video test, 60 frames per second. .1080p video test, 60 frames per second with the SJCAM SJ4000. 1080p video test, 60 frames per second. .1080p video test with the SJCAM SJ4000, 60 frames per second. 1080p video test, 60 frames per second. .1080p video test, 60 frames per second. Video test. .1080p video test, 60 frames per second. Oh, this is a 1080p 60 frames per second video test with the SJCAM I think it's SJ4000, 1080p video test. 60 frames per second. .1080p video test, 60 frames per second. .1080p video test at 60 frames per second, the SJCAM SJ4000. .1080p video test, 60 frames per second. .1080p video test, 60 frames per second. Video test. .1080p video test, 60 frames per second. The SJCAM SJ4000. 1080p video test, 60 frames per second. .1080p video test, 60 frames per second. With the SJCAM SJ4000. 1080p video test, 60 frames per second. .1080p video test, 60 frames per second.